The beginning of an airbrush painting is so crucial. It sets the tone for everything else. Your very finished last stroke, whether it be with the airbrush or the paintbrush, is always going to hang on what you do in the beginning stages. Before this guy comes into place, this very high tech, very precise material right here, this art supply, the airbrush, you want to use a very low tech, very ancient tool, which is the pencil. This pencil is going to be crucial for this to turn into a finished airbrush piece that you're going to be very proud of. I hear a lot of artists, they have this bravado like I never draw or whatever. If you don't use this is going to be a lot less effective. So let's do this. Here I opened up the photo reference in Twitter to tell you some of the really crucial things that you need to keep in mind when you transfer the drawing, transfer the image onto your surface you're going to be working with. Now, anatomy is everything. Just because you projected it or transferred it through any mechanical means doesn't mean that it was done correctly. What you have to do is you have to make sure that these axis lines are parallel like that, and also this line right here is correct. So what needs to happen, if you notice, this makes a sort of a box. If this doesn't make a box, then what's going to happen is it's going to look anatomically incorrect, and no matter how far you go, how beautiful you do in the later stages, if this part isn't correct, it's a done deal. So like I said, you have your image, and when you are working on your drawing, you want to make sure that, let me just get this correctly. You want to make sure that these things are parallel to one another. Now, it's not going to be perfect, but you will see that, this is going to be really crucial if you have this correct. So definitely worry about that. Now, there are other aspects of the drawing that I really want to touch on as well. And let's see. So, right here, you want to make sure that this negative space is going to be on the money. Just because you project it, you're not going to necessarily have that negative space correct. Negative space is something that is basically something that is not what you're drawing, but what's around it, which is really going to make sense. So if you see, if I go ahead and blow this up, we can basically just right here, you can see that negative space. That would be very important. Different things to look out for. The negative space between the upper eyelid and this lower upper eyelid and the eyebrow. Those are things that are just so darn crucial. And you're not necessarily going to get that in a projection, so you want to make sure that those things are touched upon. Another aspect that you really want to pay attention to is the hairline. One of the things that really creates a likeness is the hairline, and basically is the distance or even the negative space of the eyebrows to the hairline. You see this shape? Those are shapes that you really have to pay attention to. Same thing here. It's not only the features, but these negative shapes. That's really going to be crucial. Just because you projected it doesn't mean that you are going to, have this information correct. So you see all this negative space, that's so important. And then after that, we can go ahead and go, and try and work on these positive shapes, right? The positive shapes are beautiful. and those are definitely the stars of the show, so to speak. But if you don't have the negative shapes correct, the positive shapes are just not going to help us out at all. So let's look for the negative and positive shapes after the projection. All these things have to happen within that first hour. I hope this really helps you to see how important the drawing stage is when you're working on an airbrush painting that may take you 10-20 hours, but how the first hour is really crucial. So definitely take that with you. We also have the weekly live stream every 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time at this channel. Make sure you don't miss it. I hope you have a great week. Take care of yourselves.